Today we're going to evaluate how powerful banned modern cards are in 2025. Are they still as good as they used to be, or has the power level shifted, changed? Okay, we're going to go continue off with Hogak, Arisen Necropolis. Now, this is a 7-mana card that you actually can't spend mana on it. It actually says so. It says so in the fine print here. You can't spend mana to cast this card. So how are you going to get it in play? Well, either with Convoke or Delve, or a combination of thereof. So you're going to tap your creatures in play and exile cards from your graveyard to pay for the one generic or the green black of this card. You may cast Hogak also from your graveyard. So if you kill it, it can most certainly come back. And it's got trample, by the way. Now, quite commonly, this was played on turn 2, somewhat reliably with the help of, what was it? Not Carrion Feeder? No, not Carrion Feeder. Well, Carrion Feeder was definitely a card in the deck, but I can't remember. It was that 1 black, 1/1, enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards from your deck, and then that was like a creature you could tap, and also the cards in your graveyard that you could exile to pay the delve cost on this stupid thing. Now, it's very important to note that in Legacy, this card is garbage. It doesn't really see play. Saw some play for a little while, but now not really so much anymore. There's a lot of answers to this card in Legacy, a lot of versatile answers. Not to mention, a lot of the cards that we see in Modern are also those answers. Cards like Solitude, cards like Leyline Binding, for crying out loud. So we have more exile effects than we did in the past. And also, I understand there's the argument that endurance can be a little slow, can be a little late, but I don't really buy it. If it was not impossible to kill Hogak. You can kill Hogak, but then you could get rid of it for certain when you play the endurance. Not to mention, we almost all the elementals. So we have Solitude, Subtlety. So when you cast Hogak, you can Subtlety and make it your opponent put it back on top of their deck or on the bottom, which is exactly where you'd want to have the Hogak. This seems kind of meh outside of being an 8/8. Well, I mean, at the time, it was a strong 8/8. Turn 2 8/8 with Trample, you just looked at your hands like, oh god, I'm screwed. Today, I think we've got the answers to this card. You will still see 8/8s on turn 2. I don't know if that's more dangerous than anything else we see in this metagame. And again, Solitude. This deck would not be able to hold a candle to the Solitude Ephemerate decks that we see in the metagame right now. It would just get completely wiped off the face of the earth. Benjamin Berkey saying, it's fine, even with Trample, it dies to most all removal. It still doesn't die to all the removal. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't kill it. Fatal Push still doesn't kill it. Lightning Bolt doesn't kill it. It even preemptively gets out of range of Unholy Heat, which I think would be printed in Modern Horizons 2. So this card still dodges a ton of the removal in the format. But, there is a lot of new removal. Like we said, Solitude, Subtlety, Leyline Binding. We also have Static Prison is now a removal spell. Does not actually die to Doomblade. That is incorrect. Doesn't die to Doomblade. Keep it banned. Doesn't die to Doomblade. Keep it banned. Right. I'm not talking about could it be unbanned. We're just talking how powerful are these cards today compared to when they were banned. And I think Hogak lost a lot of ground. I think this card lost so much ground that if it got unbanned, it'd be like a card, but it probably wouldn't. The deck itself would not be so menacing. Whatever deck you build with Hogak is just going to get wiped off the face of the earth by the decks that we have today. I don't think it's faster than any decks that what would this do against Neobrand? Nothing. Oh, you got an 8/8 Trampler on turn 2? Well, watch me combo off on turn 2. Storm would just destroy this thing because Storm is a very consistent turn 3 deck. The Blink decks would destroy this thing. Probably Energy would beat this deck, and I say that because they could build up the energy to kill Hogak. They just need to tempo it out. I mean, Hogak at the time wasn't very good at blocking. If you killed the Hogak card, there wasn't a whole lot of blockers out there. Swords to Plowshares. There's no Swords to Plowshares in Modern. That's not a Modern card. Swords to Plowshares is strictly a Legacy, Vintage, or Commander card. So we don't have Swords to Plowshares. The closest we've got is Solitude. That's whoop, too many Solitudes. That's our Swords to Plowshares. It's even better because we could play it for free, and we could also blink it with Ephemerates. So actually, there's a lot of bonuses to that version of Swords to Plowshares. I think Hogak is actually a fair power level as of today. I think Modern has risen to a very similar power level as Legacy in terms of answers, and I think we now have the answers to Hogak, and it would not be nearly as dangerous as we once knew it. Okay, our next card. What is our next card, by the way? Oh my goodness, this card. Hypergenesis! Okay, it's a sorcery. Suspend 3 for 3 mana. Starting with you, each player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card from their hand onto the battlefield. No planeswalkers. Wow. And then repeat this process until no one puts a card onto the battlefield. I don't even know why this is banned in the first place. It's just to prevent chaos for the most part. Have we talked about pod yet? Yes, actually, we did. We're going in alphabetical order. Birthing pod starts with a B. We're at H at this moment. You think it seems fine? It's just jank. So the big scary thing with Hypergenesis is they would be afraid that you build like you're building an Emrakul sort of you're basically building Living End, but instead of wiping the board and putting a bunch of stupid graveyard creatures in play, you're going to be putting like a bunch of Eldrazi in play. I don't even know if it would be like that big of a deal. Yeah, Cascade is the only way you abuse this card, so you have to play with you can't even play with Violent Outburst, it's banned. You have to play with Shardless Agent. And was it Border Post? I can't remember the other one. Was there a border? No, it's not called Border Post. I can't remember the white, blue, one generic enchantment that gives Exalted, but it also has Cascade. Can't remember that. I can't remember what the card is, though. Does it work with Busted Sword? It'll work with anything. You can put all your artifact creatures and enchantments in play. Something Alara? Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody cares. The card isn't any good except for cascading for 3 mana at sorcery speed. But that would be the only fear. And by the way, like, is that even that big of a deal? We've got like a lot of. I think we have enough answers to Hypergenesis today. Like we got the Vexing Bauble. We've got Void Mirror. We've got Chalice of the Void on 0. We've got what's it called? Containment Priest. How does Containment Priest work with this card? If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. What if I put into play a Containment Priest with Hypergenesis? Would that, like, nuke the board? This is a very good... Someone call Judging for the win. He'd probably know about it. Yeah, there's also a 3-mana sorcery. Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, Ardent Plea. That's the card. That's right. I think the last comment meant Buster Sword. You can put Buster... What's wrong with Buster Sword? Think you can't get a Buster Sword in play? You can get this in play. Yeah, you can put this in play with it. What you're going to do with it, I don't know. Yeah, I honestly, if you're playing Hypergenesis to get Buster Sword in play, you have bigger problems in front of you. Boromir? I don't know if Boromir is going to change anything. So anyway, the card is insane. The card is insanely powerful, but it's not even clear you would win if it even resolves. It's possible because you have to do this at sorcery speed, right? So on your turn, you like play out your hand, but they might put like an unblockable army onto the battlefield with like, I don't know, like a bunch of goblins. Maybe that's a bit of a silly example. But there is a world where they kill you first, or they combo you off against you with like a creature combo. Imagine doing this versus Yawgmoth. And Yawgmoth is like, I don't mind if I do. I'd love to put my Yawgmoth and my Wall of Roots and my my wolves in play. Like, that would be perfect. I mean, there's a lot of creature combos out there. So this, I think there's a lot of room for this to backfire. This is the type of card that Wizards doesn't like to unban because, like, what if it breaks something? Like, what is the good to Hypergenesis? Maybe they could lean towards unbanning it, though, because they banned Violent Outburst. And if they ban Violent Outburst, the Cascade decks have gotten a lot weaker. Like, way weaker than I thought that they would have. Super weaker. Reread Buster Sword so you can get so you can cast Hypergenesis with it. Oh, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, they may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the damage without playing its mana cost. Okay, that's fine, but that's still a lot more work than using a Cascade spell. Okay, I understand. You want to use... I didn't know that was how you wanted to cast your Hypergenesis. It seems like a lot more work than normal to get Hypergenesis in play. Hypergenesis is fine, but asymmetrical cards, says Benjamin Berkey, are usually not asymmetrical if you build your deck around it. Like, okay, so how would you build your deck around this? Like, what's the plan? Like, this card doesn't even see play in Legacy. I mean, technically there is a Eureka deck, which is more reliable, and you just play, you just play Eureka and boom. But here's the thing. I believe Eureka does Eureka let you put, like, Planeswalkers in play? Eureka. This card doesn't. Starting with you, each player may put a permanent card from the hand onto the battlefield. This is strictly worse, because it's restricted to artifact, creature, enchantment, and land. You are not allowed. Planeswalkers not allowed. No Planeswalkers allowed here. Not even one. This is the no Jaces club. No Chandras. No Gideons allowed. Not even what. No Gideons/Gideons allowed. All the Gideons are banned. You'd have to find a way to take an extra turn with this. That's just too much work, and then the deck becomes jank. I mean, the default level 0 deck is Cascade into this, put a bunch of Eldrazi in play, pass the turn, hope they don't do anything, and then you win on your following turn. Or effectively be put... Battles a battle. Nope, no battles. They didn't... No battles. I forgot, that's a new permanent type. Anything else that I'm missing? They keep making new cards. Wizards, what are you doing? Here we have Mishra, the Forsaken, reminding us, yes, the Buster Sword can get us into our Hypergenesis. But the thing is about Cascade cards is you don't need to have Hypergenesis in play. If you go the Buster Sword route, then you need the sword, equip, attack, and have Hypergenesis in your hand. Whereas you can have like 8 Cascade spells and not have Hypergenesis in your hand and still make it work out. I think Dungeon's like a token, right? Okay, anyway, Hypergenesis, weak. I think this is actually just a straight up weak card. It would make a weak deck. It'd be a little janky. I mean, do you know what? Tybalt's Trickery power. We'll just we can put it like that. It is Tybalt's Trickery level of stupid that they probably aren't going to unban. Little dead fly. Thank you very much for your dono. Just to support the show. I really appreciate your support. Okay, next up. We're going to take a look at... Ooh, this one. Completely forgot this card was banned. Gigantha, the Wellspring. Just a 5-mana 5/5. And for as long as none of the cards in your starting deck have like more than one colored mana symbol in the casting cost, you got a 5/5 creature in your sideboard. That's basically for free. I think this card is like pointless. I mean, I couldn't believe that they banned this card. They like banned it in Pioneer for good reason. I think like the card was a little bit better in Pioneer than it was in Modern. Like, it was a card in Modern. I don't know if it really made decks all that much better. In some way, I think it might have made decks better by banning it, because now they force decks to play with their 15 sideboard card. It was they claimed it was too homogenous in the format. Like, too many decks were playing this. Like, Tron was freely playing this, and Energy was freely playing this, and the Prowess decks were free. So basically, everyone had a Giganta in their sideboard, because the cost of playing it wasn't really all that high. At least it wasn't all that high for those decks. And it still isn't. Like, I still don't think Energy is playing with any... Oh, I guess they're playing with Wrath the Skies now. But you know what? Like, a lot of companion decks broke the companion rule, and they just didn't play with the companion post board when they really needed to. A free card, but not because of the casting cost. Yeah, like, pitch to Fury and Endurance. Well, I think Fury, was banned way before Gigantha was banned. But Endurance was still a thing. No, hold on. You can't pitch to Fury because Fury was double red and Endurance is double green. That interaction never happened. That never happened. That reminds me of a story. Someone told me like they wanted to play Gitaxian Probe in a Living End deck. So Gitaxian Probe. It's like, why doesn't anyone play Gitaxian Probe in Living End? This is great. This is so smart. Every combo deck plays this. And then they went to play Cascade. They played their Cascade card and found out, and then they've cascaded into their Gitaxian Probe instead of the Living End. And they realized, oh, that's why. Yeah, anyway, Gigantha, remember, no cards in your starting deck have double mana costs. So, free card that adds 5 mana. I'm not going to say that never came up. That came up a few times. But usually that didn't matter. Usually it was just a 5 mana 5/5 and like they try to either block or beat someone down. Welcome, Matthew. We're talking banned modern cards. How powerful are they today? This was freshly banned. Honestly, I don't care about this card. I don't know why anyone... It wasn't even... I don't feel like it was banned for power level. And the weird thing is, like, Gigantha came up, but like it was always when you had nothing else to do. It was like the thing of last resort. It's just not something you want to do. It wasn't good in Elementals because the Elementals played Solitude, remember? Elementals played the other companion. They played Kiora? No, Kiora is not the word. Starts with a K, I think. The cat, the 3/2 Vigilance cat with lifelink. That's what they played. No, this was played in the Prowess decks, Tron. It was played in Energy and some other stuff. So anyway, I thought this was the weirdest ban because the gameplay, like Gigantha coming out on the battlefield just didn't happen that much. It wasn't a gameplay problem. It was just like a free card that you could go fetch for when you have nothing else to do. There's a lot of situations where my opponent was empty-handed, but they didn't even have the 5 mana, so they spend 3 mana to put Gigantha in their hand, they just do nothing with it. So like it was like a weird... I just think it was a weird thing to ban because it was not of a power level. It's not a power level ban. Before Solitude, when they cast 4-color Omnath with it, I don't think there was an Omnath deck before, like, Modern... I don't think there was much of an Omnath deck before Modern Horizons 2. Maybe there was. So you're saying Gigantha is not a game changer? No! I think this card is... like, it's free for the decks that want to play it, and they need to win an attrition war, but for the most part, I don't think this card was strong, and I thought the banning was a bit stupid. If they wanted to ban it, they should have banned it a long time ago when they banned... what was the other... Lurrus. Because this was a... Lurrus was powerful. Lurrus was actually strong. Gigantha is not. This is just a... It's a draft card. It's a 5 mana 5/5, which is actually below draft power level. And like I said, they only... the decks that played Gigantha only played it when they had nothing else to do. They're empty-handed. So this tapping for Wooburg is worthless. It didn't even have... It had very minimal effect on the game. So on the rare times that they put Gigantha onto the battlefield, and the even rarer times that mana mattered, was not really particularly impressive. So anyway, I think this card is not powerful. I don't think it was that. It was not powerful even before. It was just banned for homogenizing the metagame. I can't remember. There was a lot of other decks that jammed this card because it was relatively free, or it was just free to have it in the sideboard. Okay, next up, we're looking at ooh. This is a powerful meatball. The Karar Clan Ironworks. It's 4 mana artifact, sacrifice an artifact, add 2 generic to your mana pool. Actually, it's to be considered 2 colorless now to your mana pool. This was powerful. This was a very strong deck at the time. Debatably unbeatable. Got really popular when it. This is a weird deck. It was really powerful the entire time when Matt Nass made this deck powerful. He won like. I want to say he won back-to-back Grand Prix with Karar Clan Ironworks, and he had a phenomenal win rate. And when it looked like Wizards wasn't going to ban the deck, then everyone started playing it, and then it put up massive results, and then they banned it. When Karar Clan Ironworks was legal, I really wanted to play it. It seemed so much fun. Well, very fun for the person playing it. I mean, there was a lot of game actions. Sacrifice this, do that. So there's like sacrifice an artifact, get mana, and then you play an artifact to. I think there was also a lot of artifacts that triggered upon being sacrificed, like Ichor Wellspring. There we go. You got your Ichor Wellsprings. So when it's enters the battlefield, you draw a card. When it's put in the graveyard, you draw a card, and you want to sacrifice to get that manas, and then you'd play cards to get your Ichor Wellspring back. And you start drawing cards. You start doing a lot of stuff. Now, this was at a time when Mox Opal was legal, and you could argue that Mox Opal, if it didn't exist, Karar Clan Ironworks was still going to be a strong deck. You could argue that. I would actually argue that Mox Opal was one of the reasons it was extra powerful, because you got like that just one turn faster over every single player. But it was a super powerful deck. And versatile, because it played with Mox Opal, so they had access to like as many colors as they wanted in their sideboard. This stuff is nightmare fuel. It's banned from Modern and still $26. Great Commander card. Nothing wrong with this in Commander. Now, so much has changed since the past. So first off, Mox Opal is banned. Now, what are all the answers that we have now in Modern to compete with Karar Clan Ironworks? We've got... Okay, I can only think of Collector Oof. It's the only thing I can think of. I hope that's not it. There's Force of Vigor. That might help. Maybe. I don't know how much this would help or hurt, because remember... Karar Clan Ironworks was really good at recurring their graveyard through synergies, but also it was a graveyard deck, right? So actually Endurance probably would be better interaction. So we have Endurance now today. Well, we always had Stony Silence, but that was the only card that existed back then. Can't remember what else would compete with this deck. Like, the problem is there was just no good way to compete with this deck at the time. Except, I mean, it was basically Stony Silence or bust. Not everyone wants to play with Stony Silence. Opal is unbanned. What am I talking about? Congratulations, Opal. Okay, Opal is back, but Opal still gets hit by all this other hate that we have for today. I mean, these are the reasons why they unbanned Opal. Okay, so Force of Vigor, Collector Oof. Collector Oof would be a big one for a lot of reasons. First off, it's a creature that can put pressure on the opponent, but also because it's in green, that means there are more colors that could play Stony Silence level effects, but also it can be tutored out, unlike Stony Silence. So there's a lot of tutors, whether it be Court of Calling or I'm blanking on the tutors in Modern. Court of Calling. There's a few other ones. If I don't play enough Modern lately, I forget everything that's going on in Modern. Green Sun Zenith, that's right, that's a new one. Green Sun Zenith, so you can use your Green Sun Zenith to go get your Collector Oof. So there's more. There's more options to deal with the Karar Clan Ironworks deck than there were in the past. Oh, not to mention, and this is a big one, Urza Saga. Urza Saga is actually a big deal. I'll tell you why. Because Urza Saga is always the route to Pithing Needle. So when when Urza Saga pops, you Pithing Needle. Oh, it can't activate mana abilities. Shoot. We can hit something else. Damn, we can't hit this thing. This is a mana ability. Damn Birds of Paradise thing. You know what would be another problem? Okay, hold on. They can use Urza Saga. It would actually get worse. Oh no! Card-Client Ironworks actually has more options than they did before. Oh, Meltdown could be that could be a card. Meltdown. Suppression Field sort of stops it. Yeah, Urza Saga can be on the list. If it goes, it goes. It's gonna get banned. Oh, Summoner's Pact. Well, I don't know if you want a Summoner's Pact for your Collect Roof. That could backfire on you pretty badly. Oh, you know what? A big one, actually? Okay, wasn't thinking of Karn Silex, but Karn the Great Creator. Totally forgot about this card. I think Ironworks got banned before Karn the Great Creator got printed in 2019. Yeah, it was banned before then. Like, this is a hard answer to that entire deck. I mean, they had a few dinky creatures or whatever. And so anyway, this is a super popular card that you can see, and it could be theoretically played in the Eldrazi decks, Tron decks, even control decks of some sorts. So, I mean, that's a pretty serious card. On the other hand, you could also say this could be played in the Card-Client Ironworks deck. So it's hard to tell. There's a lot of new answers for KCI, also a lot of new upgrades for KCI. Yeah, they have access to Mystic Forge. You can get Graveyard with Saga, Tormod's Crypt, Soul Guide, Lantern. You can get Graveyard Hate, but it'd be better if you can just shut off Card-Client Ironworks, period. I mean, there's Sorceress Spyglass, I guess. There are quite a few cards now that they have printed that are like super Pithing Needles. Is that enough to deal with this? I don't know. I'd be inclined to believe that this card is less powerful today than it was before. There's just a lot more hard answers to it. But the downside is that we've got now just outright more powerful tools that you could add to Card-Client Ironworks to make it even more unbeatable artifact comboing machine. Well, Meddling Mage always existed, but they can kill it off. They had removal. They had weird removal. Their removal is strange. How long is Vivi until Vivi is banned in Modern? I have no idea. It's got to prove itself. Everyone got to prove itself in Modern. Modern has so many problems. We now need Modern's old problems to deal with Modern's new problems. Or maybe I'll be happy that Modern's new problems deal with the old problems. I would love it. KCI Eggs is slow for the current format. Unban it, let the jank deck. Well, it might be. Is it slow? I mean, that actually is a point. You have a good point here. That the speed of Modern was a lot slower during KCI's time. Now we have more turn 2, turn 3 decks, which actually make this deck a lot more fair. Like, that's how you can judge like Legacy. Like, KCI isn't anything in Legacy because there's a bunch of turn 1, turn 2 decks in Legacy. Like, if you want to play the Goldfish game, you're gonna lose. There's a way bigger fish to fry. So now we got Neobrand, we've got Storm, we've got Prowess. Like, Prowess can kill you pretty reliably on turn 3. Is it Prowess can kill you on turn 3? Can kill you pretty reliably between turn 3 and turn 4. It's basically like a combo deck. So anyway, like, Card-Client Ironworks has a lot of competition. So you definitely would say that is not nearly as powerful as it used to be. You'd have to compete with a lot more powerful cards today. I think it would be more broken, but the list probably should look different, says Shaitan. Thank you for letting us know. There's Carry and Conquer from the new Tarkir set too. What does that do? Infect's not really a thing today. Infect can't hold its ground versus the 1 toughness. The barrage of 1 toughness removal, like Lava Dart, Orcish Bowmaster. So, like, Infect is just... It's not going to get banned, Oh man, remember everyone complaining about Infect? No one complains about it anymore because it just doesn't exist. Okay, we're gonna look at more cards in Modern and see how and judge the power level of them in 2025. But we gotta thank our sponsors today, FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite place to get my Magic the Gathering cards. And before the Final Fantasy cards get banned, maybe you want to buy them so you can play with them, have fun with them, and destroy, just thrash your play group and thrash your metagame. Final Fantasy cards are flying off the shelves hot, and they're flying, they're selling faster and hotter than hotcakes. So don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu when buying them to get 5% off all your purchases and support the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. So you don't have to be afraid of cards getting banned because you're renting the cards on Magic Online with Mana Traders. That's the whole point. It's cheaper that way. It's a bandless saver. You can play more decks and play the best decks. That's where you get your competitive edge. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 40% cash back on your third month subscription using coupon code Nikachu_ZAX. And back to banned Modern cards. Okay, what's next? Ooh, speaking of companions, it is Lurrus of the Dream Den. 3 mana, 3/2 Cat Nightmare with Companion. Each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. Lifelink. During each of your turns, you may cast one permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. Now, this card, this ain't no Gigantha. This card was strong, and it's still, I mean, this card, it doesn't look like much, honestly. And when you play with it a few times, you're like, okay, this is like a pretty good card, but, it must be beatable. But then you play with it for a very long time, you're like, wow, this card is hard. It's banned in Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy, just for reference. It's 2 free. I mean, it's a 2 for 0, because you're going to get this thing from your sideboard, you're going to play it, and you almost always get a permanent from your graveyard. And then if it doesn't die immediately, your opponent it's like a Howling Mine that puts things into play, because you're always going to put something from your graveyard back onto the battlefield every single turn. Yeah, this 2 CMC Clown Fiesta again. It was, I mean, this whole thing is stupid. Each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. Like, are you kidding me? Most decks, even right now, are like that. I mean, if you really twist their arm, Boros Energy will do that. Is It Prowess lives like that right now. I've got Is It Aggro here. How many decks could play? Oops. How many decks here can play Lurrus if they really wanted to? Is It Prowess? They'd have to splash white or black. I'm just looking at decks that are very low on mana curve. Maybe not Domain Zoo because they want to play, what's it called? Okay. I failed miserably. There's actually a lot less decks. But then the point is, like, Dimir Murktide might want to do it, but they'd have to get rid of their Abhorrent Oculus and the Murktide Regent. Okay, that was a big failure. Basically, energy without the 3 drops could also do this. Lurrus Bauble is free. Yep, that's free. That was like a really good interaction. So you didn't even have to have that much mana up. You just go Lurrus, bring back your Bauble, get an extra random card. The amount of the power that this card and that, well, I mean, it was more of a value play. It was a very strong value play. Once you're empty, like with Gigantha, when you're empty-handed, you're like, okay, your opponent has a Gigantha. They have a 5/5 creature, big deal. But then when you're empty-handed versus the Lurrus deck, and they're empty-handed, and they play Lurrus, you're just lost. It's like, we just went through this huge war of exchanging resources, and then you're going to bring them all back? What about me? Am I allowed to bring my stuff back? No, you're not. So I just get completely crushed by Lurrus. Do you think Storm would splash? No, they wouldn't play this card. Never. They would stick with Gigantha because it's just a bigger deck. I don't think. Yeah, and it's on color. Wizards deck would use Lurrus too. Yep. Yeah, they could do that. I imagine there's a Dimir deck that would play Lurrus. It'd be like not Death Shadow. The new Black Goyf. Is it? No, it's not Lurgoyf. It's the new one-sided Goyf, the Goyf that only counts the player's graveyard. You could put that. You can have Psychic Frog, and then maybe one other random creature, and boom, you got a deck. Nether Goyf, yeah. So like Nether Goyf. Oh yeah, it was played in Hammer Time. I don't know what happened to Hammer Time. Where'd that deck go? It just can't stand to Orcish Bowmaster. They just got Mox Opal. That's weird. They even lost Fury. Or maybe Lava Dart and Mox Opal is just Lava Dart and Bowmasters is too much. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Hammer Time. Thought that would be good. Do you think anyone would mainboard Lurrus? Well, they can't. So if you mainboard Lurrus, then you can't use Lurrus's ability. The whole point of Companion is that if you play it with the restriction, then you have a free card in your sideboard. It's like you drew a hand of 7 cards, and then you've got this magical card in your sideboard as your 8th card. Every game. Every single game. So you're like guaranteed something in your sideboard. But so if you play Lurrus in your main, some people tried it, but it just didn't work. It was tried though. Anyway, I actually do think that this card would just be as good today as it was when it was banned. It's just very, very strong. It's the type of card that it's just powerful enough. It doesn't feel like it's too good, but the decks playing Lurrus are just always winning. And they always have that inevitability. Very frustrating. Lurrus got banned and they all quit, maybe. And it couldn't be thought. Yeah, you can't Thoughtseize this card. And you couldn't even do any... And the thing is, even if you had removal, it was worthless. You had to counterspell this card. Because if you had removal, they play Lurrus, and they have priority. So then they can play a card from their graveyard first, and then you kill Lurrus, and they still 2 for 0'd you, basically. Or I think they 2 for 0 you. Or I guess they 3 for 0 you if you play a removal spell. Am I doing that right? No, I think it's a 1 for 0 afterwards. But anyways, I think Boros Energy would just take out the Phlages, and their late game would be reanimating a Johnny's and Ocelot Prides. It's possible. Oh, look, this is a cat. It's got synergy with the Johnny. Big synergy. Big synergy with the Johnny. Okay, still too strong. Way, way, way too strong. Moving on. Oh, this is an interesting card. Mental Misstep. What do people think about this card? Introducing Mental Misstep is a 1 Phyrexian mana instant counter target spell with converted mana cost of 1, which means anyone can play it because it's a Phyrexian spell. Yeah, broken. Well, I mean, here's the deal. I don't know if you can call this card broken. I mean, I guess you can call it broken, but it's just the thing. Everyone's gonna play it. Just don't play 1-drops, you fools. Just play 2-drops. Maybe we finally have an answer to all the other stupid 1-drops in the game. And you know what? If everyone's gonna mental misstep my mental misstep to mental misstep. If you mental misstep my mental misstep that was mental misstepping your mental misstepping to mental misstepping my Swift Spear, then so be it. I'll misstep your misstep. That's how it works. Mental misstep, aka the card that everyone has to play once it's legal. Yes, correct. Well, maybe not. I don't know about everyone. Probably most decks. Probably most people. Phyrexian mana was a mistake. You're probably right. Multi-Ultimator. You're probably right. I actually don't mind Phyrexian mana. I think it's somewhat balanced. Obviously, there were some cards that weren't. This is one of them. Think about you not to run Aether Vial in your Merfolk deck. I would still run it. They want to pay 2 life to take out my Aether Vial? Go for it. This unban might just be good for the Cascade decks. You can't hit the Cascade cards. Remember, it's not 1 or 0 or 1 or less. It's just counter target spell with converted mana cost of 1. That's it. So your targets are all the 1-drops. You can hit Ragavan. You can hit Ocelot Pride. You can hit Guide of Souls. You can hit Monastery Swift Spear, Lightning Bolt, Preordain. So those are your targets. Stuff like that. 0 drops, Mishra's Bauble, nope. Living End, nope. Cannot hit those things, weirdly enough. Phyrexian mana is fine when it's not the only mana cost. Yes, that's a really good way to put it, Maddie Matson. So cards like Dismember. Well, I mean, you could argue Birthing Pod was maybe a little too cheap. Hence how freely it was able to get banned. It was like being able to play it on turn 2 was the difference between it being fair and like broken. Oh boy, would have thought free interaction at danger. I know. Steve Cooper. Beanpot says, whenever Wizards of the Coast tries to make a mechanic that cheats on the mana curve, something breaks. Yes. Almost always. Benovsky says, P mana goes against Garfield View for MTG. Oh, really? I didn't know Garfield would care. Turiot says, what happened to Minor Misstep? Is it the same as Gitaxian Probe where actually paying mana for it is not worth it? It's actually better than Mental Misstep because Minor Misstep counters spells that are 1 or 0. I think it sees like niche play in like Standard and maybe Vintage, maybe. Okay, I don't want to speak for Vintage, but I believe it sees like really minor play. But it's like it's just not good if you don't have the targets. Even if you have to pay 1. I sort of like the card, though. Spectral Maniac says, I'd add the caveat that Phyrexian mana is fine when it's not the only colored mana cost. Oh. Yeah, I mean, Matty Matson says, I mean, aside from the colorless mana, if it's blue 1 and also 1 Phyrexian, for example, that's okay. I think that would work, so. Okay, this card is just as broken as it was before, so too powerful. Yeah, it's just as powerful. It arguably it's more powerful now than it was in the past because we got more 1-drops. Hit that Static Prison and so on. There's way more target as the number of targets for Mental Misstep goes up, the more powerful Mental Misstep gets. Okay, this is going to be a funny card. We have quite a debate over here. Mycosynth Lattice. A 6-mana artifact. All permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types, and all cards that aren't on the battlefield. Spells and permanents are colorless. Players may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. Is this card as powerful today in 2025 as the year it was banned? And I believe it was banned in 2019? Either 2019 or 2020. So for the reason it was banned is just because of Karn, the great creator. It's funny. It's very important to note. This card was legal in Modern for an eternity. Saw no play. 0 play. Nothing. Nothing. With no one ever give this card the time of day. And then Karn, the great creator got printed. And it was like, wow, this thing's broken. Get it out of here. Ban it. Actually, more people honestly were calling for this thing to be banned, but knowing Wizards of the Coast, do you think Wizards would ban their mythic rare card? I can't even remember, but was Karn on a package? Was Karn on the booster pack? Was Karn on the I can't remember if it was on the booster packs of War of the Spark. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So Karn and Lattice on the battlefield basically said your opponents can't tap lands for mana or activate anything. You're frozen in time. Currently in danger. Urza. I hope we're talking about the same Urza. I would say only if Karn the Great Creator is banned, but now we have cards like Collector Oof. So we have more cards actually. Oh yeah, they could play Collector Oof, but Collector Oof is hard to play. You can't tutor for Collector Oof with Karn. Karn, remember, has this ability. You may reveal an artifact card you own from outside the game or choose a face-up artifact card you own in exile. Put it into your hand. And you could go get your Mycosynth Lattice. You only need 1 Lattice in your sideboard, and it was basically a combo. Matty Matson says, to be fair, Karn is still more fun to play with in a vacuum, so I get them banning Lattice instead of Karn. I mean, it was just a miserable way to lose. You know, they go Karn minus, go get Lattice, and then you have to deal with that Karn. You have to deal with that card immediately. You don't deal with that card, you don't get to play the game anymore. The game is going to be over. Well, I don't know if Urza would break this. Like, what would Urza do with Mycosynth Lattice? Like, I don't get it. Oh, what, your construct gets enormous because everything's an artifact? I don't know if that's really that big of a deal. Okay, but mind you, Urza sees no play. Nothing. I guess that's a problem. If Urza starts seeing play, those cards are broken. If Urza doesn't see play, those cards are fine. It's A-okay. Blacklands Geo, even Clarion Conqueror shuts down everything with Lattice. Daniel says yes. Okay, Urza, apparently Urza's broken. I don't think so, though. Okay, Mycosynth Lattice. Okay, so is there anything different today about the Karn Lattice combo that wasn't true back in like 2000 in 2019 or 2020? I don't think much has changed. I think this interaction would still be strong. Like, probably the Eldrazi decks would play it. Like, those Eldrazi ramp decks would very comfortably play it because they've got the mana to ramp into this. They could go turn 2 Karn somewhat reliably, or at least turn 3 Karn, and then get Lattice out very quickly. Well, if it says non-land, it's totally fine. Well, it doesn't say non-land. It says lands, everything. Who banned my... I don't know, all of R&D. I mean, it's really just the same. I suppose. No, there is some differences. So, for example, I don't think this combo would work very well versus the Prowess decks, because you could play Karn, Lattice, and then they just kill you. Remember, you can still attack with creatures. So I think this deck would still struggle versus Energy, which might build up a pretty sizable big board by the time you get the Karn Lattice lock. Like, it's only good if the board is somewhat empty. If the board has, like, creatures, you're screwed, because the creatures are still allowed to attack. Their activated abilities are just shut off, but, like, big deal. So if there's, like, a Flage in play, you still die. So I think the aggro decks still aggro you. So you still lose to Prowess, you still lose to Energy. That might be it. Oh, there's Leyline Binding. So you could float the mana now. So with Lattice on the stack, you float a white. Lattice enters the battlefield. Because the land types don't change, right? So you can still Leyline Binding this card. So that changes. That's a big difference. You could preemptively Pithing Needle name Karn, in theory. Oh, we have the channel lands. Well, it would be funny to channel into that. Then your channel mana can be used for any color. So, hon, but you just reminded me. We got Boseiju. So, Lattice on the stack, float the Boseiju mana, then get rid of it. You could even Otawara Karn, or you could also, like, buy yourself a turn with Otawara. Or any other lands help? No, but Boseiju is huge. So we actually we have Force of Vigor now, too. All right, this thing is not as powerful as it used to be. It's a good, but it's not nearly as good as it used to be. I think this card... Here's the problem. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm not saying you can unban this card, because the interaction is awful. But this card is not nearly as powerful as it used to be. We have way more answers than ever before. It's actually possible that the Karn player will temple themselves out by playing this Lattice nonsense and then die because of it. Good talk, everyone. Good talk. All right, next up. Blue cards. Everyone hates blue cards. Mystic Sanctuary. Land, island. Why it needed to be island, I have no idea. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Now, I'll admit, I don't know why they made this an island, because you could easily fetch it out with any blue fetch land. Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, and so on. So it's just insane. Now, all that being said, I was really surprised when they banned it. I was just pretty surprised when they banned it. It was like, it was a good interaction, sure. I didn't think it was that broken. Like, you can interact with the graveyard, you can interact with your opponent's top of the deck. You also have, the opponent also has to wait until they draw their card. So Beanpot says this card is miserable. It's not, you know what? The card is not miserable. It is the untapped, unfetched fetch land. That's what was miserable. You're staring down. Every fetch land represented a Mystic Sanctuary. Every single one of them. Leonardo says, I want it unbanned to make Cryptic playable again. I have some news for you. You will not make Cryptic playable again. Cryptic's not coming back. It's just like that Simpsons meme. Cryptic is gone. Is he going to come back? No, he's not. Probably never. Banned for continuous recursion. Well, I mean, it's not super continuous, but it was enough value. Basically, what it turned your, I don't know what the best analogy is, but it turned your fetch lands into like a vampiric tutor for your graveyard. Does that make sense? It's like a slow Snapcaster Mage. Because remember, you fetched out the Mystic Sanctuary, and then the Mystic Sanctuary put the card in your graveyard back on top of your deck. You still, this card is only banned in Modern, by the way. It is legal in Legacy, and you still have to fear that interaction in Legacy. Completely legal in Pioneer because there are no this very limited fetch lands. There are no fetch lands that can fetch this thing out, so it has to be played fairly. Endurance is an answer to it. What else is an answer? We've got more graveyard hate cards. You know, honestly, I don't think there's a lot of strong answers. Like, I would say Endurance is a crappy answer to this card. Like, you're going to play your 3... Because this thing is pretty free. Just randomly crack fetch land. Threaten to put a card from your graveyard back on top of your deck. And that forces you to play your 3/4 Endurance. And by the way, they're doing this at the end of your turn. So it's very likely that they'll still counterspell your Endurance. And then you'd be screwed anyway. Every fetch land turns into a stock up, I guess. Well, not a... oh! That's really a good point. Yeah, we've got massive card advantage cards these days. Works with Ghostly Prison. Does it? What? What are you talking about? Strip mine, then get your strip mine back. You can only... No. You can only get your... you can only get instants and sorceries with this card. Can't get strip mine. Also, strip mine not legal in Modern. That's not legal here. Modern is too fast for it to be oppressive now. I actually don't agree with that. I think Modern is slower than people think. It's just that you're sort of lost by like turn 3, but you haven't died yet, if that makes any sense. Like, there's a lot of games versus Boros Energy. You're like, okay, by turn 3, okay, I'm definitely losing this game. You have an Ajani, and you just flaged my only creature, and you have a really high life total. I guess I'm gonna die. But you still don't actually die until turns 5 or 6. So there's still room for Mystic Sanctuary to be played. And honestly, control decks are dead. There's no control deck in Modern right now. They could use this. You could actually argue that they need the help. This only saw play. I think this only saw play in control decks. And it was at a time when control was powerful. They were playing Uro, so they Uro helped ramp into like the Mystic Sanctuary, in a position to Mystic Sanctuary. Prowess would abuse this somehow? 0%. I doubt it. They don't need to play with this card. So I would say I would say the power level is even. I don't think this thing got a whole lot better, and I don't think it got a whole lot worse. And I think adding it back to the Modern format might give some boost to control decks. Because I don't know if anyone realized this, but control is gone. There are no control decks. There's just no good control cards to deal with like everything that's going on right now in Modern. So anyway, we're gonna be like neutral on this. Do I have a neutral sound effect? It's the closest I got. We're going to be neutral on Mystic Sanctuary. Well, here's a card that's not going to be neutral at all. I don't even know if there's much of a discussion to be had about this card. Nadu, Winged Wisdom. 3 mana, 3/4 Bird Wizard, flying. Creatures you control have... When this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Its ability triggers only twice each turn. Feels right. It just... This thing was released a year ago. Feels like it was just yesterday. Control isn't playable means Modern is playable? No. We need control to control the stupid aggro decks. There's nothing to control the aggro decks. The bird is the word meme. Nadu is still broken today. It's a pretty strong card in Legacy. I believe Anzid MTG held a no ban list Modern event, and Nadu won it. Or it performed incredibly well. It either got like second place or it won the damn thing. So it's like now the new king of no ban Modern. If you want to know what the best deck in no ban Modern is, it's Nadu. It can just like you can just combo off easily turn 3. Can you win turn 2? I guess not. No, you have to wait at least one turn. Isn't control weak to aggro decks? It can and it can't. It depends. It's more even than you would think. Nadu got a lifetime sentence for its crimes. It's probably going to go in Legacy at some point, too. I mean, you can't win with this damn thing. You want to kill this thing, you trigger it. Well, that sucks. And also, I didn't really agree with the people that said executing the combo took too long. I didn't think it took that long. The problem was the Thassa Oracle lists were stupid. Like, I didn't think executing the combo was all that much different from a Storm deck. But the problem is, if you're not playing with Thassa's Oracle, well, then if you force someone to actually win with the deck, then it just becomes dumb. Because they have to do this really convoluted loop in order to win the game. And forcing them to prove that loop was insane. Anyway, I don't really have much to say about this card. We're going to say it is still freshly powerful. Nothing has changed. There's nothing new that's going to deal with this card. And it deserves to be banned for a long time. Oko, Thief of Crowns. I want a sound effect for this. What's a really good sound effect here? Did anyone, like, I'm just curious, like, was anyone around for when Oko was legal in Modern? I can't tell. You know, there's a lot of new players. They don't even know, they don't even know what the power level of Oko is. It looks stupid. It's a 3 mana 4 loyalty planeswalker. +2, you get a food token, which was a big mystery at the time. What do foods do? Is this a strong ability? Is it not? And then we found out a food is just an artifact, pay 2, crack it, gain 3 life. I was like, wow, that sucks. Then +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. Then -5, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control and target creature and opponent controls with power 3 or less. The -5 wasn't really played. It's just, long story short, making a 3/3 every other turn was just too strong for Modern. That's basically it. Once you go, you can get this out on turn 2, and once you go +2, like, the Planeswalker is just way too big to kill it. It was just very, very, very hard to kill in Oko. +1 should have been -1. Oh, there's a lot of things that should have been done with this card. This is one of those, it's actually very similar to Nadu. The original Oko sucked. It wasn't very good. So they made some last minute changes, and like, I guess they just didn't play test it at all, and it became a huge problem. Unban so I can win with the 3/3 Mox Opal again. Did you play the Urza deck, Beanpot? You sound like one. You sound like an Urza player. Knife says, 6 loyalty for 3 mana walker is insane. Well, we have quite a few 6 mana loyalty 3 mana walkers. Oko's not the only one, but this is the most impactful one. Because you get the food token that buffers your life total, or you can turn it into a 3/3 creature. And by the way, that food token is then going to be as big as your biggest creature. Because when you put out anything that's enormous, too big for my 3/3, I just turn your stupid thing into a 3/3. because I can turn any target artifact or creature into a 3/3 elk. Very, very versatile. Oko, King of the Elks. Thief of Crowns. He needed a crown to be the king of that elk, king of all the elks. They're both Simic. Coincidence? I think not. Is it a coincidence that they're both Simic cards? Simic should be banned. Too broken. Would this slot into any decks, or would it spawn its own archetype? So, okay, let me tell you what happened, Exesta. I have a really good answer. Every deck that played green splashed blue for this deck. Every deck that splashed blue played green for this card. Every single one. And basically all the top, I think there was only one deck that didn't, and that was just Mono Red Prowess. That was it. So it was Mono Red Prowess and a bunch of Simic decks, or any deck that was willing to splash the last color to get Oko into the deck. Yeah, Oko was its own army. Oh, the Oko mirror was very interesting. It was like this weird mind game. It was a real game of chess, because it does an ultimate. Like, do you attack the player? Do you attack the Oko? Is it worth it to attack the Oko? And it was really complicated. I don't even think I even got to the soul of what you're supposed to do in the Oko mirror. Knife says, I remember when you played a 3-mana Jace that made your opponent draw a card, and you would like it. Yeah, that was way back in the day. Herc Dirk, do you think Nadu will ever be looked at as a weak card due to power creep 10 to 15 years from now? It's possible. It's totally possible. Like, new cards could come out that would say, there could be a ton of new cards that come out into the future that would say, creature, whenever an ability, like, triggered abilities of creatures don't trigger, something like that. Those cards don't exist right now. That's the problem. Like, we don't have such a card that says whenever an ability of a creature triggers, don't like counter it or something like that. That just doesn't exist. But if they printed a bunch of them, or a bunch of cards that say or a bunch of cards that, creatures in play lose all their abilities, or flying creatures lose their abilities, or some crap like that, then Nadu could be considered more fair. But right now we just have none of that. We have no tools to beat Nadu. Imagine they make another broken Oko. It's always possible. This arguably was the broken Oko. Another 3-mana Simic card. Make Simic great again. You know what? That was every so often they have a really nice discussion about that online. Making Simic balanced is difficult because the things that Simic does is either like really, really good or worthless. So finding that balance for Simic is really hard, because the things that Simic do, card draw, life gain, and just value, like good value, just gets out of control. So finding that right balance is like super hard for the Simic colors. There are 70 cards that cost 1 green and blue. There's just like Vigian, High Propon. Huh? Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff that sucks. Strict Proctor does a good impersonation of that effect. Not really. I mean, it's got a cost, right? So like it's got a tax. And I think it's only ETBs, right? Strict Proctor. So it's a really soft answer. Whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. Oh, that might actually work with Nadu, because Nadu, the permanent targeted spell or ability. Oh, maybe it isn't. No. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for Nadu. Because Nadu triggers upon being targeted, not when a permanent enters the battlefield. But then that's my point. The cards just don't exist. The answers to something like Nadu just doesn't exist today. But anyhow, Risen Reef has been so overshadowed as a good 1 green blue costed card. Oh, Risen Reef has had its time in the sun. It's been very strong many times. Landfall works well with Simic because you get to ramp and draw. That's right. That's the whole idea. Blue's too strong and green does everything, so Simic is just angry face, says Nightmare Incarnation. Okay, Oko is just, by the way, just for reference, Oko's banned everywhere. Is this the most banned card ever? Wow, I can play Oko in Vintage. A full 4 copies if I want to. Banned in Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Historic, and Brawl. This card is just as powerful today as it was before. There's nothing. There's nothing that beats this damn thing. Too strong. I'm wondering, would maybe Urza Saga changes some of the math? How long has Urza Saga been out for? Since the Urza Saga came out in Modern Horizons 2? Because Urza Saga could A, get like big constructs to trample over the 3/3s, but also it can get Pithing Needle. So maybe that's the only difference, but I don't think it would matter all that much. I don't know if you played any Brawl on Arena, but Oko made the format unplayable. Oh, did the same in Oldial? Every format. Just made every format unplayable. It was I don't want to say it was miserable, because I was one of the people playing Oko too. It wasn't great. It was bad. I still have my Okos. You want to see an Oko? I have 4 of them on my wall. Here, don't go anywhere. I'm getting an Oko. See, I'm just proving it. I got a bunch of Okos that are sitting on my wall upside down to represent that they're banned and just unplayable now. I went down with the ship. I own a playset of Okos. What are they worth now? What can I sell them for? No! $6. No! $3.68. No, they've overprinted my banned card. I lost value. I don't remember what I bought these for. I got hose though. It was so strong. And for a while people thought, well, maybe it's not going to get banned. Maybe it's not going to get... No, it got banned everywhere. Yeah, how the mighty have fallen. There's just nowhere to play it. Nikachu makes money from selling Beanie Babies on the black market. No, Jess, are you interested in buying some Beanie Babies from me? I could sell you guys Beanie Babies if you want. Magic the Gathering Beanie Babies. Put them in a commander deck then? Well, then I gotta make a Simic commander deck. I'm gonna spend like $1,000 just to make this card play. And I got 3 other ones. What am I gonna do with them? Okay, too powerful. Still too powerful. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Thanks for the discussion. As usual, we do these shows 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. And thanks to all the supporters supporting me on Patreon, on YouTube. Sorry, on the patrons on Patreon, the members on YouTube, or if you super chat to be part of the show, or even super chat so other people are part of the show. And of course, thank you, everyone, for being here and your input. People like Tresaru, Knife, Jess. We got Matthew Green, Beanpot, Argentina, the Ghost of Thomas Jenkins, Talithar, Bell, Maddie, Matson, Bob's Talks, Bridge, Zazums, and more. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep bringing those coffees. We're going to keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you at the next cup.